Have you ever had that heart-pounding moment right before you have to speak where you just wish the ground would swallow you whole? Yeah, you are not alone. Today, we're going to crack open Dale Carnegie's legendary playbook to figure out how to turn that paralyzing fear into, well, unshakable confidence.
So, where do we even begin this journey? Well, it starts by tackling the biggest hurdle for pretty much all of us, that universal stomach and knots fear of standing up in front of an audience. You know the feeling, right? You stand up to speak, you've practiced, but then nothing. Your mind just goes completely blank. That feeling of sheer panic, it isn't just you. It's a universal fear. And according to Dale Carnegie, it's the single biggest thing holding most people back from reaching their true potential.
It is so easy to think that feeling of fear and awkwardness is some kind of personal feeling. But here's the reality. It's not. Get this. Even historical giants felt it. Abraham Lincoln was known to be shy and awkward before his speeches. And Charlie Chaplin, a guy who commanded global audiences, literally confessed to having, quote, microphone fright. So this isn't a flaw in you. It's just part of being human.
And this right here gets to the very heart of Carnegie's promise. He argued that if you can conquer this one fear, it does way more than just make you a better speaker. It actually unlocks a more exciting, more rewarding life, because it gives you this new kind of power, the power to confidently share your ideas and, influence your world. Okay, so if even the absolute greats felt this fear, how in the world did they overcome it? That brings us to Carnegie's foundational belief, and it's a big one. Confidence isn't something you're born with. Nope. It's something you build, brick by brick. Carnegie saw it like this. Fear, it grows in the dark. It thrives in the unknown when you're just not sure what you're capable of. But every single time you have a successful experience, you're shining a little light on that fear. And if you build up enough of those successes, eventually that fear has nowhere left to hide.
So the big question, how do you get that first win? Carnegie's method is basically a 1-2 punch. First, you act courageous, even if you are totally faking it. And second, you just plunge in. You start building that track record, one small success at a time.
This is such a powerful psychological trick, and he borrowed it from the philosopher William James. The idea is that you can't always control your feelings directly, right? But you can control your actions. So if you act brave, you stand tall, you speak clearly, you look people in the eye, your feelings will often just catch up. The action itself actually generates real courage.
All right, so acting brave is the mindset. But what's the practical tool you can use to make it real? Well, Carnegie had this one secret weapon he believed was the ultimate antidote to fear, and that is over-preparation. And you've got to pay close attention to that word, over. It's not about having a full glass of knowledge, no. It's about having a reservoir so full that it's overflowing. To be truly fearless, Carnegie says, you need to know your topic so deeply, so inside and out, that you couldn't possibly forget it all. I mean, Carnegie put it this way. Assemble 100 thoughts, discard 90. The goal isn't just to have enough material to say. The real goal is to have so much extra material that what you choose to present is the absolute cream of the crop, the best of the best. That is how you gain true mastery. This deep well of knowledge creates what Carnegie called reserve power. You know that feeling, right? That unshakable confidence you feel when you know you have more than enough. You stop worrying about forgetting one specific line because you know you have 10 other ways to make the exact same point. You're not just reciting anymore, you're truly speaking from a place of authority. Oh, I love this metaphor. Think about it. A simple tallow candle is soft, it's weak, but if you put enough powder, that's your deep preparation, behind it, you can shoot it straight through a pine board. That is the kind of powerful impact your ideas can have when they're backed by reserve power. So, you've done the work. You have this overflowing reservoir of knowledge. Awesome. But that power is totally useless if it comes out as a confusing mess. So the next step is to structure those powerful thoughts for maximum impact. Because without structure, even the most brilliant ideas feel like this, a chaotic jumble of numbers. Carnegie warned that a disorganized speaker is just shouting signals. Your audience might hear the words, sure, but they can't follow the logic or connect with your message. But with a clear structure, everything changes. You create a logical path for your audience, taking them from one point to the next, nice and easy. And this isn't just about being neat. It's about making your message understandable, memorable, and most importantly, persuasive. And Carnegie offered a really simple 3-step method to get this clarity. First, you brood. You just live with your topic, meditate on it until ideas start bubbling up on their own. Second, you collect. You capture every single one of those ideas, no matter how small. And finally, you organize. You take all that raw material and shape it into a logical, powerful story. So, you've built your reserve power, and you've structured your thoughts. You have the perfect speech on paper. But there is one final, non-negotiable step that separates the amateur from the expert, and that is practice. And Carnegie really doesn't mince words here. You can't learn to speak by just reading about it, right? The only way to build that record of successful experience we talked about is to get up and actually do it. You have to plunge into the water. And if you think the greatest speakers in history were just born that way, think again. The master orators of their time, from politicians to thinkers, almost all of them belonged to debating societies. They didn't just show up and wing it. They practiced, they failed, and they relentlessly honed their craft in front of their peers. This quote, this just perfectly captures the transformation that happens through practice. Yes, you are gonna feel those nerves before you start, of course. But once you're in the flow, fueled by all your preparation and experience, it becomes absolutely exhilarating. You won't want to stop. So let's make this real. The journey to confidence doesn't start with some grand, epic speech. It starts with a single step, a single successful experience. So I'll leave you with Carnegie's first challenge. What is one thing, your job, a hobby, a passion, that you already know enough about to speak on for just 3 minutes? Find that topic and you've found your first plunge into the water.